Welcome, everybody. This is an opportunity to broadcast here live today. Sorry for the earlier confusion. I had a little bit of a tech issue happening, and was not able to go on from the Resonant Essentials YouTube channel, in which I normally do my Clear Blue Radiance podcast from. So today I'm using my Circle of Grace One podcast channel for it, and we're looking forward to have many of you join me here if you can. If not, you'll be able to come back and review this as a replay. One of the things I'm going to do is talk about this particular lesson, metaphysical and spiritual lesson today, but I'm also going to give you a special original creative path work meditation. Now, I actually had this particular meditation under another title way back in about 1997 up until about 2000. Hey there, Rose. And I decided to give it a different kind of name today. I feel that's, connected to the topic. I will also later discuss briefly with many of you the special announcements that are coming up for the two 13-week online courses so that you know exactly what to do. Many of you may have received some very special offers at which give you a nice reduction, but it's only for these two courses being done at this time in the early part of the year. Those offers won't be given out during the spring, summer, or fall, well, next time perhaps. So let me get started here. Great to see you here, Rose Jefferson, and anyone else who's in the background right now, weaving in and out of the traffic and watching me at the same time. Well, many of you know that I am also a spiritual counselor. I've been one for 40 plus years now. I also do psychic readings for people. I participate at monthly psychic fairs here in Albuquerque, New Mexico for Resonant Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. Now, what I also do is when I'm at those particular fairs, and we have one coming up um, in this month. We have one coming up shortly. Um, it's usually done on the second Sunday of each month. I do my psychic readings there. I do many numerology readings. I do something called the Angle of Grace, which is a play on the word angel. Angel is in terms of degrees, angle degrees. And I'll also do what I call celestial I am drawings, and that involves looking at the person's eyes and kind of gazing into their auric field. And what usually happens in that very moment, we pick up on symbols, pictures, images, sounds. I might hear running water. I might hear thunder and lightning. I might hear rustling of leaves popping up in the person's, coming through the person's aura. I'll see various numbers, symbols, and other imagery. Sometimes I'll see some of the very unique things that take place is we're always walking with a guide or two, and it never fails. Every time I do these special drawings with colored pencils, a person's strongest spirit guide will wash over their face and kind of come through the face energetically, and that's all I get to see. Usually people will ask, well, what is the name of the guide? Usually what happens, the guide tells me to mind my business. So that's the fun part. Uh, but sometimes those special drawings can be done outside of their um, using a Zoom platform, and I could still do the drawing because I could see the aura shift around the person. So that's a lot of things that I do, usually for Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. I usually teach there every Saturday from 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time to about 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And if you're ever in the area, the fee for the class is just $10. If you want to pay extra, you can. And but it's not necessary. I just enjoy teaching it. At that price, it gives everybody an opportunity to sit in circle with me and along with the other students, and have this opportunity to develop their meditation skills. So usually if people hang out with me every Saturday for about 6 months to a year, they will begin to fall into what is called silent meditation. And we'll be able to sit in silent meditation for 20, 30 minutes of this class. Also, what happens is a person eventually, especially if they're doing their meditation daily at home on a regular basis, at least every day or 3 times a week, what will happen is they will begin to kind of knock on the door and receive the presence of the higher self. The higher self is always with us. We're just unable to recognize it, what it looks like, what it feels like, and all of that that is coming together that makes up the complexion, the state of what being of your higher self. Your higher self is much bigger than you. The dynamics of that is equivalent to an ant on your finger and what the ant sees when it looks around and sees you. So you have this huge, huge configuration of energy, and it overflows with sacred geometrical patterns in it at the same time. There are many light codes that are in universal, but some that are particularly connected to who you are. And so these things will always be there. I'm going to pull out 2 books that I want to make a connection in today's show. I'm going to use the Radiant Heart book, which is also a part of that course that's coming up. And also, one of the things I want to bring out is my favorite buddy here, Reverend Ike. Reverend Ike is also a person who I like to bring forward. I may use, who else is in this configuration of goodies? I might use something from The Power of the Subconscious Mind. Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Um, this is a basically another. This is basically a revised book based on his original book. I believe his original book was in pink. Yeah, this is put together in 2007. So I will use something from here, as well as Reverend Ike. Reverend Ike books always have a beautiful, bit of information that allows us to receive great insight. Well, today's topic is called Every Thought, Word, and Feeling Becomes an Intention. Every thought, word, and feeling becomes an intention. Now, many metaphysical and spiritual teachers remind us that we must embody our word. Now, we might think, well, how does one embody the word within themselves? Embody, it means to carry it inside of yourself so that that energy can begin to build. And it's all about holding the thoughts and the feelings consciously within your conscious mind. As you know, you have a subconscious mind, which can internalize many thoughts and feelings that you have experienced over a long period of time. Your subconscious mind, sub meaning under, think of the conscious being the top of the water, top of a body of water. And anything beneath that is the subconscious, subwater, subterranean area. So all of our life's experiences, good, bad, or indifferent, what we think and feel about them and ourselves starts to weight and go down into the subterranean region, which is the subconscious mind. And sometimes, if not all the time, our beliefs are stuck there too. If we've had good experiences or bad experiences that have grown out of bad choices, bad, and I mean interacting with other people as well. those things, that data is in there, and sometimes it is embedded very deeply within ourselves. And we find that it's very hard for ourselves to rise above that. And so you have now that subterranean region in you, which is your subconscious mind. And then you have your conscious mind. That's you in the present moment, remembering things, thinking, analyzing thoughts, tuning into your feelings, the sensation of feelings, tuning into the areas outside of yourself, employing your logical left brain and that intuitive spatial right brain. You have a lot of that activity going on all the time with yourself. And one of the things is we find ourselves engaged to those thoughts and feelings that are rising up occasionally, trying to break through the plane from the subterranean into the conscious mind. And we can pull that up through meditation. There is something called the superconscious, and that's considered that disguise is symbolically. So subterranean underneath the water, then the conscious was right on top of the water, and then going up higher into the atmosphere toward the light, the greatest light, the more infinite nature, and that is can be looked at as the super consciousness side. So one of the things that happens is the longer that we could do this, I mean, start tuning in and holding that thought, that feeling together, and let it mix, right? Because we see it, we feel it, we think of it, it's an idea. Then we try to retain that idea within ourselves. We often try to retain that idea in our mental state. That's the conscious side of us, because we're consciously and constantly thinking about it all the time. So we find ourselves thinking about it a lot. Things that have happened to us, things that it didn't happen to us, things that almost happened to us. All of that is there. Good relationships, bad relationships, neutrality, people that you don't feel you're connected to, but yet they're in your life. Could be your neighbor next door or someone further down the block. It could be a family member, a distant one who's distant from you emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, or one who's right in your vicinity physically, but you don't feel a connection. All these things are possible. And so what happens is we start to hold that thought in our consciousness, right? Because we're thinking about it all the time. One of the things we have to do is do not let the thinking fall into worry and anxiety, because the usually what we say as the brain is putting out the electrical impulses, sending out the vibration, where our emotional body is more like our magnetic side, and that's drawing things to ourselves. So any thought that you have, and if it begins to waver, go back and forth into being positive to you or negative, a down feeling, an up feeling, or a down feeling. If you're not in control of how that process is going on inside yourself, it can slip down onto the water and it starts bouncing around, floating around on the water of your consciousness. And then eventually, what? It falls into the subterranean part of us, and then when it falls into the subterranean part of us, that's when it starts to filter deeply down into the subconscious. And that's sometimes when we have this strong sense of believing something or not believing something. So we have to be very careful. I'm cooking something, make sure it's not burning. So you see me look that way, the kitchen's that way. I have to make sure it's not burning, which means I will excuse myself and go get it. A little comedy. All right. So this is something that happens within ourselves over and over and over. As children, or if you see children around you, they do it all the time. There's something that they specifically want from the parent, and they will what? Repeat those words with feeling because they desire to have that thing, thought, or idea or experience that they have going on in their mind. And they know mommy and daddy can materialize it for them. Mommy and daddy are like the universal principle, right? The God presence, goddess presence energy that can hopefully fulfill what they are desiring to have in their life. So often, as we engage our feelings with the thoughts, and when you do that, it's sort of like aligning what you feel and hear about it with what you are thinking up here about it. So the thinking, the mental process, the mind, as we call it, has to come in full alignment with the heart, the feeling, the desire, the passion. But there is the compassion. That's where we know that it's possible. It is no longer some idea that's way out here in the ethers to us, but we can materialize that idea. And the longer we can do this, the feelings of materialization begin to expand with it within us and creates a sense of precipitation within our aura. Now, I use that word precipitation because when we're ever thinking about when it's going to rain, right? We think about rain. We think about water that's not only in the earth, but water that's in droplets of water, the essence of water in a body of water, streams, lakes, ponds, and huge bodies of water, such as oceans. And when the atmosphere around close enough to the land has what? Gives that feeling of dryness and warmness, it begins to evaporate whatever essence of water, wherever it might be, and fine atomic molecular structure of water droplets up into a cloud. The cloud is holding that energy. The various clouds are holding the essence of water. And when there's enough of the process that is ongoing called precipitation, you begin to feel the presence of water getting ready to be released on back onto the earth, back into ponds, back into lakes, back into rivers and streams. Now, depending on where you live, I've lived here 13 years. In the first year or two, I couldn't distinguish at a distance if it was raining. People that I met here that were born and raised here told me, well, if you see how the clouds are gray and dark, and if you see that it looks like on an angle, a stream of darkness, like bands or rays, that means it's raining out there. The other way you can tell is you are smelling it, the dampness in the air. Another way, you become like your grandparents. You feel stiffness, aches, and pains where? In your joints. I remember my aunties and uncles would say, "Oh man, my knee is stiff today," and to them, it's going to rain. And we might hear or see the weather man or woman on TV talking about, "Oh, it's going to rain in the afternoon," but your elder is telling you at 8, 9 in the morning they get this stiffness in their knees, in their shoulders, in their various joints on their body, and they're beginning to feel the presence of the precipitation factor where it's going to rain. And usually they can tell you when because the body knows. The body has significant means of telegraphing to us what it already knows beyond what the weatherman knows. So the feeling of this will build up like magnetism and begin to draw the goodness that you seek. So that means if you're putting out a thought that's very positive, highly positive, that's something that you desire to have in your life, you desire to experience. As you ever heard the phrase, I want to be in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, doing the right things, and receiving that which is good for me to receive. That does what? helps me elevate, grow, and expand my consciousness to higher consciousness, helps me transform myself into a better person than I was the day before, weeks or months ago, or years ago. This is happening all the time. But during this process, we have to be thankful through the mental process by repeating those thoughts. I'm thankful for all that I've received, all that's ever happened to me in my life that gave me growth, that grew my potential as to who I am. And you start repeating that mentally to yourself, and you can say it verbally out loud. Sometimes when we say something out loud, that presence, that energy starts to fill up around you and eventually circulates and comes back to you. Just like you put the thoughts out and they circulate and they come back to us. So these things are very important. And we want to be in, we want to be where we need to be. It's important that we have those experiences. Because if we're not having the experience, then it becomes more difficult. So we're telling ourselves to be grateful. We're accepting gratitude. And we're doing it in a way that we feel more compassionate about ourselves. We have to give ourselves a sense of unconditional love. When you give unconditional love to yourself, as well as others, you're doing it without any strings attached. You don't want anything back. And you're doing it because you truly do, authentically do have that love for another human being, which means you want to see them become abundant. You want to see them prosper. You want to see them have better health. You want to see them get the things in their life that they have been looking to have into their life, that they're willing to open themselves up to. So, what does this really boil down to? Because not only every thought, word, and feeling becomes an intention, but we are learning and relearning to trust the process. Now, once we trust the process, we develop faith in the process. Why? Because faith is what we know to be already true. So, if we have had the experience before and it personifies truth to us, then we don't have any doubt that it is or isn't going to happen. What we learn to have is what? Patience. That's what we learn to have. We learn to develop great patience in ourselves. Now, some people don't have patience. Some people like to say, Aries people don't like to have patience. They want something now, they want it now. That's not just Aries, every one of us do that. Because we're getting excited, right? We want to have the experience. We want to feel fulfilled. We want to have things overflowing in our lives. But it's learning how to be contented with what we have and not overwhelming ourselves with too many things. I know sometimes I use myself as an example. Oh, I would love to have a mansion out here. Then I think of it, well, do you feel like walking that distance from one part of the house to the other? Or if it's 2 stories, you got to go up and down these firm stone steps? No. Would you like to have it as open space? It doesn't have to be big, it has to be comfortable. No matter where you're at, it has to become your castle. So, energetically, you can take a small place and energize it using candle vibrations, aromatherapy vibrations, your intentions, your prayers, your meditations, your affirmative prayers, your guided meditations. You can use sound, Tibetan bowls, crystal bowls that'll ring off of certain tones, the certain 7 tones, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, right? It's ringing off any one of those tones. Did I say incense? Sage a place to raise the vibration. Sage and sweetgrass a place. Or crystals and gemstones. These things help magnify the space, clear it out so what? You can feel the hugeness of it. Why? Because you're trying to invite that which is positive or conducive for you. So this is always highly important. I mean, we all fight through clutter. It's part of our process of humans. We accumulate, we hold on to things. Sometimes we need to let go. We know that there are people on the planet who have a hard time doing that, and they become uh, depressed throughout their life about different life's issues happening to them. And what usually happens, they fall into the state of becoming a hoarder, which means they hold on to too many things and there's no room for them to put anything. And sometimes they have things dating back to 3, 4 years ago, some people 10 years ago. And there's absolutely no room for them to move from bedroom to living room to kitchen, you name it. But that is a degree. People say mental illness. It's also depression, a deep, deep level of depression that a person is going through. And so we cannot be so judgmental because we all get to that knocking at the door sometimes. So often now, as this topic is, every thought, every word, and feeling becomes an intention. So, what is an intention? That is something that we are deeming to take place. We're desiring that particular thought or feeling to materialize itself at some point into our life. Now, sometimes when you intend something, you want to will it into the state of being, the state of fruition, so you can taste it, smell it, you name it. But here's the situation that comes up with this. Often, we are wanting so much for a certain thought to manifest, materialize, a feeling. We want this idea to be present. We don't want it to float down the river away from us. We want it, hold it right in front of us. There's two words. One, you can believe that it's going to take place, but belief sometimes is wavering. When we're believing for something to take place, hey there, Brother Holly, we're wavering back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we're unaware that we're doing that. That's where worry comes in because you're expecting for something to happen right now. For instance, I had a client a few days ago, and the client wanted to know when was this certain legal thing that she was putting in motion against her job, when was it going to come into place? I had another person several weeks ago was saying, "Hey, I got this particular case happening. When do you think I'm going to win this money?" Well, the winning of money, even if it's lottery money or legal money, is based on a series of things, a series of thought processes, a series of feelings, a series of attitudes, and it has to step past belief. In other words, you can't waver about it. You can expect it to happen. You have to have faith that it will happen. Inside the word faith, Faith, if you drop the H and rearrange the A and the I, you have fiat. A fiat is a divine spark. That divine spark somehow has to jump through you, because you're the open door. It's got to come from the heavens through you and materialize itself in your life so you can see it. Sometimes it does materialize itself in you and you don't see it. That's where the feeling comes in. That's what the late Reverend Ike used to say. Let the feeling get the blessing. If you feel something strongly enough, consistently enough, and feel it in the same way over and over again until it mushrooms up inside of you, it has to materialize. It has to make itself known to you. That's why he would always say, what you bring into your mind is very important. He used to teach when you get up in the morning before the world economy takes over, before humanity rises with you, before political things pop up on the scene around you, you have to tell yourself how to think. And you have to tell yourself how to think and be consistent about it. So you have to not just tell yourself how to think, you have to proclaim it for yourself, affirm it for yourself, and decree it for yourself. That's very important. And the more you affirm and decree for yourself, the stronger the vibration becomes. Because the vibration gets so strong within you, it starts what? Coming out of the pores of your skin into the atmosphere. Your atmosphere is your auric field. Now, you put so much of that energy out there like that. Let's say you're thinking about, I want to be positive today. Only positive situations can happen for me today. So you start to think about every possibility for positive experiences to take place in your life. And you think about it and you sing about it. When you sing, you're enchanting the atmosphere, enchanting the elementals around you, the elementals of water, fire, air, and earth. You're getting them grooving and moving with you. The most important thing is you are expecting it to take place. When you expect it to take place, no doubt in your mind that it's going to happen, you're going to receive it. No doubt in your mind. That's why he used to say, late Reverend Knight, you got to make up your mind. Don't waver. Tune into what's around you, but don't waver. As you tune into the energy of the thought that you want, then it can come forward. How many people here always wanted to get like a new car or a used car, a better car than what they have? How many of you thought about clothing that you wanted to have? I had an experience similar to Reverend Ike, and I realized he had one. He said one day when he's living in Beverly Hills, California, when he had his church, he wanted, he desired to have a pair of blue shoes, blue dress shoes. And he thought about it. And he built the magnetism and electrical thought process and magnetism all throughout his body, that he's driving, being driven to a location and going, that men's shop, shoe shop has the blue shoes. And he walked in there and he looked around and he said, the clerk came out and said, well, how can I help you, sir? He says, I want to buy a pair of blue dress shoes. And the gentleman looked around his store, looked in display, looked on the walls, looked at the boxes. And he says, no, we don't have any blue shoes. And Reverend I kind of told him, well, go into the back and bring me out your blue shoes. The young man went back there and looked and looked and looked and looked and looked in every aisle in the section he needed to look in, because Reverend I gave him his shoe size, the width, and the length, and talked about the style. Person came out and says, I'm sorry, sir, we don't have that kind of shoe. We don't have that color. We got black, we got brown, we got gray. He says, they're there. The pair is there. Go back and look again. I know you have them. The young man said, okay. He goes back there. And sooner or later, within 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes, he comes out with the box. And he's like, and opens it up. And there they are. Exact color, style, and size in blue. I'll give you my experience. many years ago when I was slimmer, I was in search of a Bill Blass cashmere 3/4 length jacket, and it was like a beige kind of color, not tan, beige. And you know, it has, when you open it up, it has the material color, and I was seeing like a golden brown interior, silk pattern interior. And I wanted it to be, when I was slimmer at that time, a double breasted coat. Well, I kept thinking about it and I kept thinking about it. Then I kind of asked the universe, flash up in my mind, who has it. Two stores in the same mall flashed up, one on the north end and one on the west end. Now, one on the south end, or wherever it was like way, way too high in price. At that day, that time, and this was about 1987, 86. That particular style jacket was like $600 at least. I know it was greater than 500, and I was going like, can I manifest that? I don't know, but the spirit says there's another store here. You need to go to that other store in this mall. So I left the south side of that area of the mall, and I started walking and walking and walking and taking a break, a little snack here and there. Then it hit me. That store. I looked across the huge stretch where people are walking, and where was this coat? In the display. And I'm drooling. Now I go inside. And it didn't show the price tag yet. I go inside, and the guy comes over to me and says, "How can I help you?" I says, "I'm looking for uh camo kind of cashmere kind of dress coat. It's beige. It has a goldish chocolate brown interior. It's double breasted, and it looks like you got one just like it. That sample right there, 3/4 length." And the gentleman said, "Well, that's just for display." And I said, "Well, if it's just for display, there must be one in here like it." And he and his manager helped me go aisle to aisle looking for that coat. And finally, I had this vibration, this feeling to go over to the wall where the mirrors were. And I said, that's it right here. The very unique thing was that the coat, the same exact Bill Blast coat. Now, I don't know if it was a knockoff, but I think it was the same one. And guess what that coat was valued at? Because the one in the other store was like 600 at least. And in my mind, in my heart, I was going like, it's got to be less. They're two different stores. Some sell higher or lower than others. And the man looked at me and said, "You think you can handle this?" I said, "Do you take some layaway prices? Because I could pay it layaway." He said, "Well, we do." I said, "I could pay it off in three prices, three installments." I said, "And I got the first one on me right now, cash." That man looked at that coat. He said, "Half price. It's like $300. But you gonna knock it off with some money?" I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna give you $150." He said, "Well, I'll give you a special deal." He brought that coat down to $250. I tried it on, perfect fit, and I had on a sweater. So I tried it on with a perfect fit, perfect shoulder length, arm length. It fit me like a gem. And what I didn't know was the back of the jacket along the waist had the two straps that you can actually make it more pinched in the back or leave it relaxed. And those two pieces went inside the jacket where the buttons would stand out more. How about that? Got that jacket for $250. And what did I give him? $150 cash. So I had to do is pay the balance plus tax. He said, "When are you coming back?" I said, "I'll be back next week, same time." And I got that 3/4 length coat. So the possibilities of things show us that we can have what we desire. We just have to be open to it. We have to open up the heart and we have to open up the mind. When we open the heart and mind together on the same frequency, that which we are seeking shall what? Be. It shall happen for us. And as it comes in, we be in a state of gratitude. So, like when I left that store, giving that deposit, I was in a state of gratitude. I said, "Man, thank you for letting me have this, for giving me the vision in my mind that I could have it. And now I'm about to have it." And all I did was just say, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you." And by the time I got there, I got a discount on something else that was in the store. So these experiences are very possible for us to have. It's left up to us to clear the mind of anxiety ridden thoughts and clear the body, the emotions of these things that we're constantly worrying about that haven't arrived yet. And then we're turning around and creating the difficulty for it. We don't have to do that. So this process is natural inside of us. It's said in different spiritual communities and religious communities that you are made in the image and the likeness of God universe. Well, in the Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes the magician out of ancient Egypt, Kemet says the universe is mind, it's mental. 7 axioms. The universe is mental. So you're made in the image. You're mental like the universe. You have sensations and feeling type energies, a little different, but that's more like the earth. But yet it's the same, and you're walking between the two worlds, the earthly plane and the heavens. You're the conduit, you're the vessel for it to drop down into. So these things are happening for us. These situations pop up in numerous ways and helps us to reveal it to ourselves, have the experience, and be joyful about it. That's one thing. In the beginning, I didn't know how to be really joyful, but had to be like a child and get joyful. If this is going to happen for me, I'm ready to receive it. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no anxiety built into me. This is mine. I don't have to worry about it, and it's going to happen. And when we put that into play for ourselves, it will happen. So now I want to share with you the garden in you, a creative path work meditation. If you're home, if you're rested, you can do this. If you're driving and listening to this, pull over to the side of the road. I don't want you to have an accident. I want you to get comfortable. I want you to start breathing in through the nose and letting the breath out of the mouth. And as you do this, I want you to let your shoulders kind of drop down and pull back just a little bit, but not forcing them. And while you're doing this, can you envision sitting inside your home, sitting perhaps on a porch, and the weather's just right for you? You can feel the warmness in the air. You could see the rich soil around you. You can see other plants and things. You're able to open yourself up wide enough like a door and begin to walk through it into the open field. Everything that you are seeing within the mind's eye or feeling its presence is real to you. You can smell the earth because you can actually bend down, kneel down, and touch it and feel the moisture of the soil. It's not dark and dry. It's almost damp to the touch, cold or warm to the touch, and it smells earthy to you. There are two things, one on one side and one on the other. On your left side, or the side that is considered your power hand, maybe you're right handed or left handed, right there is a big bucket of water with a spout. And in your subdominant hand, the one that you don't write with, the one that you don't hold things with, is a basket of seeds. Seeds, seeds of different colors, textures, and sizes. This area already has its grooves in the earth, has its rows that are ready for you to plant your seeds and water them. Just like a gardener, you dig into the soil with your small angled shovel and you poke into the earth, a place where you could plant this highly textured seed, highly colorful seed into the soil. And you can cover the earth over the seed, and then you can begin to water, sprinkle the water into that area. And I want you to take as many seeds as you want because each seed represents a thought or a desire, something that you want to see manifest in your own life. So I want you to begin to do that. And you want to have some space for you to plant these seeds. You don't want to put three or four same seeds in the spot of the soil because it creates a little too much entanglement. And when the seed begins to grow, the roots, they get entangled and they may kind of choke each other out. You don't want that. You want each seed to have its own set of roots. And as you begin to survey the land and you begin to plant these seeds one at a time, I want you to say to yourself, I affirm that this garden shall prosper me abundantly. For every seed that I place into the earth is a seed that I have embedded within my heart, and it shall grow and expand and blossom. And for every seed that I place into the soil, its roots shall run deep within me. And every seed shall produce its own fruit, beautiful, scented. It might be a seed that is medicinal, it might be a seed that is beautiful, it might be a seed of artistic senses and skills and abilities. Each one of these seeds may produce within me the caliber of a business person, the caliber, high caliber of a spiritual person, metaphysical person who is always prospering abundantly. Take a moment and make that connection. Make that connection between your heart and your brain. Your brain is the soil of the earth. The seeds are the ideas and the thoughts. And the emotions are the water. Using the water, water the earth with your emotions, with your feelings. Embrace the idea, embrace the thought, feeling that this will happen. It's going to happen. It has already happened numerous times in my life already. Happened for me successfully numerous times in my heart already. And you begin to feel the presence of the soil of your mind, the soil of the earth, the waters, the feelings that are very clear, that are what, going deeply into the subconscious realm, and start rooting all these thoughts and all these feelings. And then you begin to feel them what, unlock, grow, expand. Your awareness is expanding. You're expecting success. It's growing in you, it's materializing in you. It is you. You are all of those trillions of thoughts and ideas and feelings. You are all of those that you know that makes all things come true because you have been intending this, you've been willing it to happen, and you are expecting it to happen. The universe is your parents, and it will make it happen for you. You deserve the goodness in life. You deserve new things to happen in your life that help what? Prosper you in every way. Every thought or idea is fully protected by divine source because you are a part of divine source. You think and act as divine source. You are the light being expressed. You are like a beacon light for others to be able to do the same. So just take a few more moments quietly, visualizing the process, visualizing yourself in every way possible, having each experience fulfill you and overflow in your life. And as you're doing this, know that everything with you and about you becomes a reality, comes in at a higher level. And when it comes in from a higher level, all you can be is one who is prospering in every moment. And as you let this begin to overflow within your mind, in your heart, and you feel this, and you embrace and accept this, I want to share some of these special announcements again with you. Coming up next month on Wednesdays, February the 5th, 2025 to April 30th, is the key to life is numerology. This is the third or fourth time that I'm teaching this since 2022 when the book first came out. So, this 13-week online course has a standard fee of $400 and an early bird fee of $297. 13 weeks, 13 consecutive weeks. And these classes, each class will begin at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Each class that is taught runs about 90 minutes, no more than 2 hours. Standard fee 400. Catch the early bird fee right away. Between now and before the 28th or so, or 31st or so of this month, you can catch it for $297. If you let it get past you, then it's the $400, but you have the whole entire month to pay the $400 off. And this, I like to always help people out. So not too long ago, there was a special offer. And if you email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com, you will receive that special offer where you receive it a little less. But nonetheless, you shall receive it. Every time a person takes an online course with me, I usually send out a 13. I send out a schedule so they see what class is being taught at each week. It's good that you get the book, The Key to Life is Numerology. Go to Amazon and get the book right here. This is what the book looks like on Amazon. The Key to Life is Numerology. It sells on Amazon for $25. We're going to use it as a reference point. We're going to learn about birthday numbers, one how to break down the compound numbers into the single digit 1 through 9. We'll look at destiny numbers. We'll look at a concept that I have called the angle of destiny and how that works. We will also apply one of the systems. You have a Chaldean system, you have a modern Pythagorean system and a modern Chaldean system, and we will apply it to the people, places, and things, so you can get an exercise. They're listed in the book. We'll talk about compound numbers and how they come into play. All of us are born sometimes on calendar dates 10 through 31, so those have meanings. We'll look at cycles of destiny as well as the birthday number by itself. We'll look at the destiny number by itself. That's when you add all the numbers together to get a compound or a single digit or possibly find a master number there. Well, that takes place for 13 weeks, and I will be video recording live using my Zoom platform that you will be sharing with me each and every week. So after each class is done, I email every student a copy so that you have that copy for yourself to review. Now, the next course, because that is going on a Wednesday night in February the 5th, in March, starting on Tuesday night in March, Tuesday night, March the 4th, I'll be teaching this Radiant Heart, the 7 amazing pathways to connect, communicate, as I say, connect, activate, and communicate with your higher self. And this has 13 chapters. We will live through the 13 chapters. There's a lot of interesting things. One of those chapters contains the 7 pathways, and some of those are dealing with guided meditations that help you out. And when we get toward the end of the book, it's all about how you're transcending, how you're in your mind and your heart. You have the opportunity to become more of your higher self on earth. That course, standard fee, will be $437, and the early bird fee price will be $365. I will let you know what the one-time discount is, but it's only for the month that it starts. It will be Tuesday, March 4th, going all the way to May 27th of 2025, and it will start at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So what you need to do is not only email me at iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com, iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. I will give you the different ways in which you could pay. You can use Cash App, you can use Venmo, you can use PayPal, and I can also do a Square. I could take your debit or credit card over the phone with you, and we can lock it into place. I'll also let you know that you can do installment payments. You could break the prices up a little bit to make it easier to pay for yourself. So you can read about this by looking at the banners on my website, which is www.circleofgrace with the number 1 at the end .us. And then you put single forward slash in there so it doesn't bounce you someplace else. A lot of people are using Circle of Grace 1. There's a Catholic authority that used Circle of Grace. I didn't even know that they were around when I came up with the thought Circle of Grace 1. So all you have to do is email me right away, and we can get you started so you can be enrolled. The special arrangement, if you wanted to sign up and take both of them, that's what the special offer is. The special offer is technically you can get them both for about $500. Both, not 500 each, both together, because you're going to take them back to back, $500, and that tells you what you pay me. Okay. Now, there is a lot of people that came through my good buddy Brandon Jamal Smith's Forgiveness Thursdays. That we're getting an opportunity to hear about this when Lloyd and myself and Jazz were on there. So Brandon, I think, is paying for one or two individuals so that they can receive this. They don't have to pay the fee. He already told two people. I don't remember who the two people were, but he already told them that he was paying for them. So hey, you're still getting in. You don't have. If Brandon says that he's paying for you, he's paying for you. Don't even worry about it. Just get yourself ready, be online, and we do this. And I like to make all my classes interactive, by the way. I ask a question. I don't mind if you're in the chat room talking back and forth to each other, but you can also raise your hand or tune in, put your mic open and say, hey, can I ask a question? Because I love to interact with people. I think this is one of the best ways to learn. In 2022, 2023, I had astrologers in my class, and it was blast. And we all got a chance to participate and enjoy. So this is an opportunity to be able to participate in this. Now, there's one more thing I have to say. Ah, I said I was going to read from one of these books, right? So, The Power of the Subconscious Mind: Unlock Your Master Key to Success by Joseph Murphy. This book is very good. It helps you understand the process of what is actually happening to yourself and what's some of the best ways. Now, this book has 1,000, I'm going to say 1,000, but it has hundreds of ways to help you. This is much better than the very first book he wrote, Joseph Murphy. And what he's basically saying, if you are working the magic, working the teachings, you have an opportunity to experience. In this book, here are some of the sections that he has in over 130 pages. Table of contents, the treasure house within you, how your own mind works, the miracle working power of your subconscious, mental healings in ancient times, mental healings in modern times, practical techniques and mental healings. One of those he's using is the science and the art of prayer and the use of visualization techniques, which is also helpful. The late Reverend Ike used to say, let's go into the theater of your mind. That's what Reverend Ike would say. Let's go into the theater of your mind. So he would have you focus like you're in a movie theater. You can see the curtains, and then the curtains open up, and what happens? You start having the experience of seeing yourself on a screen. He says how to use the power of your subconscious mind for wealth, how to get the results of what you want. And all these are done in a manner that is really easy to receive. So I'm going to just read a little passage. This is on page 13. It's this little section is called, the title is The Treasure House Within You. The subtitle is Necessity of a Working Basis. Substantial progress in any field of endeavor is impossible in the absence of a working basis, which is universal in its application. You can become skilled in the operation of your subconscious mind. You can practice its powers with a certainty of results in exact proportion to your knowledge of its principles and to your application of them. Yes, press the like button, everybody, when you can. He says results in exact proportion to your knowledge of its principles and to your application of them for definite, specific purposes and goals that you wish to achieve. Now, this is highly important because we all have goals. And he even says, being a former chemist, I would like to point out that if you combine hydrogen and oxygen in the proportions of two atoms of the former to one of the latter, water would be the result. So he's saying the same thing here. This is actually using spiritual, that's why they call metaphysics, right? It's physics, but it's beyond the physical side of things. And he says it here. Let us consider generally an accepted principle. Water seeks its own level. And what did I use earlier? I was talking about your subconscious mind is the subterranean part of the water. Your conscious mind is what floats on top, and your superconscious mind is that which is in the sky, in the heavens. So there's this opportunity to manifest exactly what you want, but you cannot let fear or doubt stand in the way. It's very important. Here's something else I want to pull out. He's got some things here I'm going to use myself. He says in the review of things that he's talking about, he says the review of highlights: think good and good follows, think evil and evil follows. You are what you think all day long. That's why we walk around, we have headaches. I've experienced that too. You start having like sinus congestion and headaches a little bit because you're not thinking in line with your higher self, with your mental state, and with your heart, for it to come into the body so that you can embody the thoughts and the feelings. He goes on to say, your subconscious mind does not argue with you. Isn't that something? It accepts what your conscious mind decrees. So if you say, I can't afford it, it may be true, but do not say it. You know why? You might think that, but do not say it. Why? Because once you say it, what? You speak it into fruition. That's precipitation. Once you give in to that feeling that you don't afford it, those emotions latch up with the mind. It gets heavy enough, and bring it starts to rain down. What? The possibilities that you're not going to receive it. Glad I pulled this book out, right? He says, select a better thought or decree. I'll buy it. I accept it in my mind. I'll buy it. So that means you have to be open here and here. The tree of life, the Kabbalah, tree of life, has a hidden box on it. It's right here. It's called the throat chakra. So he says, even if you're thinking that thought that you can't afford the house, you can't afford the car, you can't afford the job, you can't afford to take time and have a vacation, you'll never have any money. If you're thinking it, he said, whatever you do, don't speak it. Don't speak it into an existence, because once you speak those feelings, they go out into the universe and they start collecting like a vacuum cleaner. And what happens? They bring them back to you into your life. And you might go, I didn't want that. I wanted to raise. I didn't want to get fired. Why? Because the emotions locked away in the deepest part of your subconscious mind was, I might get fired. Well, when you get fired, and you don't want to get fired, but you speak it into existence, you told the universe to what? Make it happen. Fire me. He says you have the power to choose. Choose health and happiness. You can choose to be friendly or you can choose to be unfriendly. You can choose to be cooperative, joyous, friendly, lovable, and the whole world will respond. This is the best way to develop a wonderful personality. Your subconscious mind is the watchman at the gate. Its chief function is to protect your subconscious mind from false impressions. Let me read that again. Your conscious mind is the watchman at the gate. Its chief function is to protect your subconscious mind from false impressions. Choose to believe that something good can happen and is happening now. It means you're putting it into the present tense. It has to happen now. You believe it's happening now, and you're saying in your mind it's happening now, and then you start speaking the truth. It's happening now. Your greatest power is your capacity to choose. Choose happiness in abundance. That's what he's saying. Choose happiness in abundance. And abundance can be anything. You're right. You remember seeing Star Trek? What did I can't even make that when he goes like this? What does the Vulcan say? May you what? Be prosperous. May you live long and be prosperous. And he gives you the greeting, right? May you live long and I practice it. May you live long and be prosperous. Why? Because you are a infinite product of the universe. And the universe is not standing in its own way. Certain conditions create certain things. Sometimes people say, I'm so angry, I feel so angry. Blessings. I live so angry, I'm so angry, I'm so angry, I'm so angry. Well, after a while, you start saying, I'm so angry with heavy weighted emotions. You're telling the universe to find more things that create anger and happiness for you. And then you begin to experience it. Here's something else. He said that the suggestions and statements of others have no power over you, have no power to hurt you. This only power is the only power is the movement of your own thought. You can choose to reject the thoughts or statements of others and affirm the good. You have the power to choose how you will react, not just react, but how you go about reacting to it. Watch what you say. You have to account for every idle word. Never say, I will fail, I will lose my job, I can't pay the rent. Your subconscious mind cannot take a joke. In other words, your subconscious mind, every time you say something, that's real to it, even though it's not real to you. It brings all things to pass. Your mind is not evil. No force of nature is evil. It depends how you use the powers of nature. What's natural? Use your mind to bless, heal, and inspire all people everywhere. Never say I can't. Overcome that fear by substituting the following: I can do all things through the power of my own subconscious mind. Reverend Ike used to teach his congregation. He used to say, you want to have money in your life? There's one word you better not say. He said, you know what that word is? And everybody go, I don't know. He said, never use the word spend, SPEND. Never use the word spend. Replace it with the word circulate. I'm always spending my money. Well, it means in the word spend, if you notice, is what? END, end. If you take the S off and put DE there, then you're depending on yourself to what? Spend the money. And so it comes to an end. I'm laughing. Now, at the beginning, it's not easy to laugh, but it is funny when you think about it. So he says, don't, he said, you're cursing yourself when you say, I'm spending money. He said, you bless yourself when you say, I'm circulating my money. So when you go and say, I'm going to pay the rent, I'm circulating my money, which pays the rent, and it leaves room for that same money to become what? Magnified and come back to me 100 times over, 1,000 times over, 10,000 times over, 100,000 times over. It what? It has to magnify. Your mind, and now he says, never say I can't, right? Because the subconscious will fulfill it. Begin to think from the standpoint of the eternal truths and principles of life, and not from the standpoint of fear, ignorance, and superstition. Do not let others, do not let others do your thinking for you. That's what I said earlier at the top of the program. Reverend Ike used to say, when you get up in the morning, you better tell your mind what to think. Because if not, at some point, by the time you turn a radio on or TV on and listening to the news, or a neighbor calls you, they're depressed, they're moody. Next thing you know, you take on their character, and now the world beyond you is telling you what to think and how to think. And next thing you know, you're just like them. That's why Reverend Ike used to say, poor person can't help you. People say, oh, that's not nice to say. What he is saying is, you must first become rich within your mind. You must experience the richness of your own mind, the wealth of your own mind, the happiness, all those things. You have to have it within you. And then once you have it within you and you begin to materialize and you begin to manifest it so that into the world, other people can see you experiencing the things that you have visualized for yourself and put the emotions together for yourself, and it begins to happen. In other words, we can't have any more doubt. We see all this stuff going in the world. We can't let it frighten us back into the cave of doubt, the cave of fear, the cave of ignorance. We can't be pulled back. We've got to go forward. The last thing he says, which is the review highlight number 11. I'll read 10 and 11 together. You are the captain of your soul, which is the subconscious mind, and the master of your fate. Remember, you have the capacity to choose. Choose life, choose love, choose health, choose happiness. Whatever your conscious mind assumes and believes to be true, your subconscious mind will accept and bring it to pass. Believe in good fortune, divine guidance, right action, and all the blessings of life. So it's going to happen. We're all going to be successful. We're all going to have our healing. We shall be healed. We're not going to be full of dis-ease. That's what we're fending off. So I'm going to read one last statement. This is what I want you to know. This is from chapter 4, Dreams, Meditation, and Guided Meditation, page 30. The beauty of exploring our dreams can lead us directly into a metaphysical and spiritual experience where we are truly traveling through the realms of higher consciousness and the eventual reality of being with our higher self. The ancient shamans in many civilizations frequently have said that our dream world is the real world and our waking state is not. This has already been researched by high powered military intelligence agencies in their pursuits to find war criminals, from the use of remote viewing to time travel, so current history can be manipulated, all in the name of national security. So, guess what that's telling you? You have the ability to manipulate your past and your future, creating it now. We have the ability to create right now by manipulating what happened in the past or being aware of what happened in the past, being aware of the potential future, but making them both mix and happen now. And this is why sometimes it is good to mix and mingle with other people, but it should be the right people in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, being what? Happy and jovial, being in a state of peace, having great mannerisms, even passing on those great mannerisms to their children, being joyful, being truthful, being authentic, and loving others unconditionally with no strings attached. Then there's no room for evil thinking and evil doing, because love will what? Rise to the surface, and love will max it all out, because only that which is loving and expressing love and light can only hold and be here. The rest has to dissipate. That is my message for today. Circle of Grace ones, substitution for Clear Blue Radiance. Play this back and learn about the classes, the online courses. Soon I'll be putting up some free online videos here based on some numerology teachings, dream interpretation, how to use the power of affirmations, talking about decrees. You can go back in these video series and you'll see where I made like some basic commercials about it. And going to do it. Hopefully, I'll be able to somehow put them up into my uh, Circle of Grace website so that when you go there, you don't have to go anyplace else. The video sits there. All right, everybody. I'm out of here. Don't want my soup to burn. I'm feeling good. Feeling great today. All things happen for a reason. Oh, and by the way, the thing that happened, why I couldn't get on Resident Essentials YouTube channel, and it wasn't her channel, I got one of those malware uh, Microsoft alert scams, and I had to go to look up how to take it out of the system. And so, if you need to know how to take it out of your system, if I sent you an email with the link in there, it tells you exactly what to do. You press the key for Windows, and at the same time, you press the letter R, and then you release those, and then you type MRT, and it opens up a special page that says, "Do you want to make changes?" Say yes, and then another page comes up, and you click Quick Scan, and it deletes it right out of your system. That's how it's done. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Today is Thursday, the 9th. So I'm thinking I'm participating in a psychic fair on Sunday at the center here in Albuquerque. And I will be coming back with some more goodies. All right. All you got to do is email me at iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. That's iam.circleofgrace1 with the number one at the end at gmail.com. Take care of yourself wherever you are here in the United States. Be safe, stay warm, stay centered, and be at peace with yourself. Be unconditionally you. Take care, everybody. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you soon.